when I talk about, if you're a great day trader, I mean, there's so much to do every day, but you don't have to do that. What you want to do is weed out the weaklings, where you create winning positions, and then you can let the winners go, right? And then you can stop them thusly. Right now, you got Netflix on earnings going into the highs, but stuff like Tesla, it's like Tesla, depending on where you're in from the weekly here and then the 3-2, you can almost stomach some of this stuff down into here, albeit a big move, right? You don't have to. But on a PSAR basis, this thing's still holding like this. If you go to the parabolic here, it's still good on the daily, right? If you just want to let things go. Things like shop, and here you go. And boom, inside day to the upside, and that was here. I mean, you can let this stuff go. I don't have a problem with that, right? As long as you're at a profit, you can let things go so long as they're still good, right? So I wanted to point that out. Also, if you didn't watch the Wheels in Motion show yet or something, we are seeing a defensive posture where they're going into the REITs and the UTs and the XLP stuff. And so we want to see how that plays out. But let's get to the email questions first. And if you got questions, start typing them in. Rob, does a reversal just occur when a 60 gets a signal? No, that can be on multiple time frames, and we would prefer to have the monthly reversals to the upside, right? And then you can look for the shorter term stuff to reconfirm that. So a reversal is certainly not 60 specific. It's anything. And even the quarter, like that's why we'll watch it on the yearlies and the quarterlies, stuff like that. Okay, I'm thinking stock is triangling them out, but it actually reverses, and I'm caught wondering when it's going to resume the uptrend, downtrend. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure how to answer that. I think stock is triangling them out, right? It's going to be corrective activity within it. So what that would mean is you have corrective activity on shorter term time frames, and the longer term is still good. That's what triangling them out would be. Beyond. Full time, okay, so beyond. Good. Okay. Full time for 60 inside hammer last Tuesday. Well, that's going back a ways, but okay, so I'm trying to think of what last Tuesday was. Next bar went up and stopped me out. Well, if it's a 60 inside hammer, right, you would want to be long. Go downward for the day. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, 60 inside hammer, right? Goes up and comes back in, right? Then boom. There's your rev strat right there. And so shifting gears on something like, it's like, when do I shift gears? I'm like, if you're trading something that's going to be as volatile as Beyond, you can be back and forth all day because it's so volatile that's why in the course we talk about intraday time frame continuity. Right? When you have something that volatile, the 60 is like a monthly, right? Because this thing's moving in an hour, what some things can move in a month, especially if you go back to the weekly when you can see this stuff in here doing nothing. Now that it's doing this, right? All right, now you can switch gears a lot. So not everybody's going to do that, and so if that's not your thing, stick with full time frame continuity and reversals back into it. When drawing triangles, if I draw them on the monthly, there's a wide range of travel a stock can go through versus a weekly. If I'm day trading, what time frame should I be looking for magnitude? I mostly don't draw triangles as I can see there are bars for price to travel through. That's good, right? You want to just know you're coming back to a previous range. But as you'll see, people are using the strat in a multitude of ways. So long as the monthly try is still good, and so what I'm saying is, like, let's say that you got this weekly here, this weekly rev strat in here, right? And it goes up and comes back, but it doesn't give you a reversal. You can stay long and just say, I'm just going to be a weekly guy and stay long. There's no reversal against me, right? You can do that. And then on the monthly, this 2-2 reversal is good all month, right? So as long as that's not reversing on you, you can reduce on this 2-2 daily if you like, and then re-add here on the 2-2 up. SPR. So, SPR. Blew through the bottom of the try, weekly, says. Okay, yep, rip it. And so here, there's your 2-2 weaker, your 3-2 to expand this to take this out, right? And the monthly has a long way to go before hitting the bottom of the try. Let me just lock this up here. Well, SPR on a monthly does this anytime you're going into lower lows. So here you got your 2-2 reversal, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up, boom. Now you're looking to take this out, right? And this is going to be 64.48, and it goes 63.81. It's done it. So you've got your lower level try. You can see these highs, and now this lower low. Okay. How far back does price matter? It always matters. It's not like there's going to be, you know, a bunch of buy and sellers there. It's just we know the phenomenon exists of range expansions. So this thing could go all the way to zero. I don't know, as long as it has full time frame counting to the downside. Do people that bought a stock 2 years ago still own it and will sell if the price goes below their entry start? So they might, but what it does, the question is from 2 years ago or whatever, back in here, are there stops there? No, there's going to be shorter term stops there. What that tells you is anybody who has bought in that amount of time is now underwater. So they at least have to consider that, right? That they are now underwater after 2 years, right? Do they want to hold, right? So it's not going to be the instantaneous mechanics like we're used to in the day trading, but that certainly would raise a red flag if I was long and after 2 years now I'm underwater of this huge stock market ripping. Can you explain the psychology of the triangle? Why do they occur? Why are some deep versus very shallow where you can only see on a 1 minute chart? Okay, so the reason that the phenomenon, we know that the phenomenon occurs because of greed and fear, right? So people want to get long, things are going up, and they want to get out of things, right? They panic on the lows. So the phenomenon is just that we know that that exists. We don't have to think through it. We know that that phenomenon exists. Outside ranges expand on both sides. The fact that we know that, right, is all we need to know. Why it's occurring doesn't matter, right? We can go through the technical mechanics that I've talked about that stops with time frame continuity are going to accelerate the price aggregation movement, because that if all the participants are buying are taking the offer and you're triggering stops, that reduces liquidity and makes it go faster. And so I hope that helps. I want to see, I think he resent this, so I'm going to see if they're the same questions or not. 1 second. Okay, no, different line of questioning, I believe. You mentioned this in the VTF on Friday. My biggest challenge right now is getting stopped multiple times, then moving on to another ticker, only for me to trade to go without me. I'm green on the week, but I missed out on some awesome trades because I got stopped and then the stock would follow through. I feel like this is just a fear of losing and I need to overcome that. Do you have any suggestions? Check with me. Tell me what you're doing battling, and I'll tell you whether you should continue doing battle or not. All right? Always check with me. So I got to know exactly what you're doing. How would you size your initial trade to create a winning position? Until you know what you're doing, I don't care if it's 100 shares or 10 shares, right? And then you check with me. For someone who's not a savant, I have to work hard to pick up most new things. Any suggestions on what I can do to accelerate the learning curve? Stay on the 30-60 gappers. Go through them at night, like win resorts, right? And say that I'm not going to trade anything, you know, directionally. I'm only going to trade reversals on 30s and 60s. And that would have given you this. You would have gone up here and minded the flip, right? And not everybody's mind is able to do this. This is something you're going to need to know how to do. I'm going to take this as a 2-2, 2-1-2 reversal inside day, and this is it's talked about in the Wheels of Motion here. But then be willing to take that rev strat, because we want to incorporate everything that we know. So although at this point it's green on the day, right? The scenario 2 is down, right? So we would want that to reconfirm, and that would give you the rev strat right here, right? So go through those at night. Go through what I said at the halftime show and then what happened the rest of the day there, and what you could have done on the 30/60s, right? And then you will see things where you will get stopped out. You'll chop, chop, chop. So be it, right? But the ones that don't really go when it lines up with what we know. Is there anything specific? Okay, that's a different question. No, that's for email. Okay, that's that. So let's get to us. And let me see. Resolution problems? No, I'm still got Google Hangouts, so should be good. And let's see. Tim, can you walk through Uber today, showing where it is still good, no reversals against me on the 15, 30, 60? Sure. Let's go Uber. So Uber is your inside 60 upper. So we know we got month and upper, right? We know we went pivot machine gun on these guys. Boom, right? Question, can you take that out? The weekly is a continuation, right? Here's your 3, 2, 2, 2. Still a continuation coming through all this stuff. Daily, boom. 2, nice solid 2. And it's important to know the first day of the week. Sometimes we'll look for simultaneous breaks, but we can also look for the aggression. These guys came out this Monday and they said we're going to buy Uber and Lyft, right? So then if we go to the 60, you'll see this. It comes gunning, right? 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2 continuation here off the 60 over 37.25. If we go to the 30, there's your 2, 1, 2 continuation. 2, 3, 1 Chicago up. 2, 2 reversal attempt. Not weak enough to take this stuff out. 2, 1, 2 back up. Right? So look, if you get in here, you can go to PSAR because you've got the monthly and the daily and all that stuff here. And like I said, if you do this and you take this, right, you don't have to freak out if it takes this out. You don't have to do that because it's already bright green on the day. You're going to have a tough time taking this out, right? So you can reduce if you'd like, and then look on to add on a reversal back up here. And be like, all right, now I'll be back in with a little bit more, even if I got stopped out on some here, if that makes sense. The 15er. And 2, 2. Inside. This took this out by a half penny and was rev strat to the upside. There you go. And then here. So what I'm saying is if you can get in on these things, then you can continue to pull back. When you have a daily that's bright green with the weekly and the monthly inside month and up, you can pull back and say, okay, I'm going to go PSAR. And say still good. So then when it comes in here, right, is it still bright green on the day and the week and the month? It is. This here, right, not only can you reduce a little bit, but it's also telling you I'm looking for a reversal back up to kick back into full time frame counter, and that's going to give you that 30 right here. Boom. Right there. If that makes sense. Sound good, Tim? Oh, good, good, good. And let's see. Don, this is my first day in the live trading floor. What should I expect? What you can expect is that people are going to tell you to get through the material. Just do it. Get through it all and see things our way. And so whether you trade it or not, if you go through the gapless 30/60s, if you go through the halftime show and what happened after that, if you go through the nightly video and see what happened there, then you'll start to see it more when you get to the weekend videos and stuff like that. Once you see things our way, we all think the same way. People will be executing different stocks in different ways, but it all lines up the same, right? And it's not bad to be a one-trick pony, right? And say, I only trade rev strats back into this. I only trade reversals on the 60s back into full time. That's fine. Because what you're going to see is you can branch out forever once you know this stuff. And then once you see things, you can become, and stay in touch with me. And if you haven't introduced yourself, here's my email. Tell me who you are, because the more you'll hear me call out people directly, because I know exactly what they're doing and what they're looking at, right? Because we all think the same way. So when you learn this, then I become the world's greatest assistant, because I can call directly to you because I know what you're doing. I know what you're comfortable with. I know what your account size is. I know what's suitable for you, right? So I would say introduce yourself, but just continue to see things our way, right? Because there is no other way. There's other people make money doing other things, but it's impossible for it to trade outside of the realm of what we know. All right, my pleasure. And Blake, just to clarify, what is the meaning of the phrase triangle they at? Triangle they at. From context, I assume it's a price move that extends beyond broadening formation line, but in other cases it appears to mean a trend reversal once the price reaches. Right, triangle the out is a reversal. When I'm saying triangle the out, that means that in old-timey speak, when you'd be in and you'd be moving your stop up, they took your stop out, now it's ready to go back up. And that's what I was showing you with the PSAR on the Uber. Here is, it doesn't have to be a hard stop out here, because you're nowhere near taking the daily out, nor the monthly, nor the weekly. So at that point, you can reduce, but you're also looking for a reversal back to kick it in, right? Here. Triangle the out, get. Here you go. See the tight stopper guys here? They're gone. Now, inside 30, boom. 212 reversal back up, if that makes sense. And so when it keeps going, it's triangle expando. Then you're at exhaustion risk, which is a little different. Make sense, Blake? Okay, good. And Chris, I got into PAAS in July and bailed out in December. Can you help me identify re-entry point PAAS? So PAAS. So at this point, it's doing this on the month. Okay, it's starting off as a down month. Even tick, so it's an inside month. All right. You go weekly. Okay, now, see your PSAR is catching up here, see? So now it's potential 3 week, but it's the first day of the week, right? So at this point, I don't need this. At this point, is it going to be strong enough to go 3 weeks? It's the first day, and you got an outside day, right? So you'd want to get outside of this and stay out, because you're going to see this here. Now, I would prefer this to happen next week when you're getting closer to the end of the month, and then go up and potentially be closer to being a continuation month. But today, on the weekly, as soon as this ticks down and comes back and goes green, you can take that, because you got a 60 daily weekly now changing back green, and potential an outside bar, right? And then you have this acreage to play with, right? Because now it can also be this, the micro try. Because it's an outside bar of these two guys, right? So you'd want to get, tomorrow I want to get out of there and stay out, right? Because if you look at the gap, you're going to see this. Here's your new 60 try. The monthly would be the issue here. Right, but anytime you gap down like this, here into lower lows, and then you take that, you can take it right away. Boom, right there. Tight stop, but if you're right, boom, you're going to get your outside bar. If that makes sense. Is that try and win based only on the time frame and not the new low? And would you expect it to come right back to the top of the hourly try? Okay, so win, if you go back to the monthly, now it's back to doji. All right, so it's back to doing nothing. If you go to the weekly, here, it's a 2 down, right? 2 down for the day. What's the next 2 on this thing is basically what I'd be looking at, because the next 2 on that, if it goes up, you're going to go back into full time frame continuity to the upside. If you go down, you're going to go back into full time frame continuity to the downside. Now you don't have a lot of continuity because you're doji on the month, but that's really what I'd be focusing on, because if you go back to the 60 here, maybe it comes back up and triangles back up, or maybe it expands. Don't know. We don't have a lot of evidence on that one either way. So you're just trading that 60. 60 is a major signal, if that makes sense. And let me see. Yeah, so anytime it takes out either side of this, you'd want to stay out of this. If not, you're coming ripping back through, and then you'd continue to look for reversals back through, because this might be the birth of a new try that goes until we close out and get this month going. And we would prefer the downside, just because it's a 2 week to the downside, and it's got some acreage to go on to be a 3 on the upside. Steve, how important are the opening gaps at the open? Seems like if you don't enter at the open, they rock it up all day and you missed a great entry. How to catch them safely? Not necessarily. Like I said, this took 3 hours to set up. So, as you continue, if they gap and go and keep going, so be it, right? Until you're proficient at being able to, use the 222 5er continuation, stuff like that, which you will, that what you're going to see now that we have earnings, we're going to have a ton of them, right? And that's good, because that means what you want to be able to do is you can take the 30/60s and you go through the 30/60s 10 minutes to the top of the hour. What's the next 2? How close are you to any 2? And is that a reversal, right? You got 10 minutes to go through that. That's not that hard. Then 20 minutes after the hour, go through the 30/60s on the gappers. And ask yourself, what's the next 2 on these? What will that create, negate, or do? Will it create a reversal? Is it a continuation? What is it? Right? If that makes sense. And like Uber? Okay, so Uber, like I said, if you got to miss it all day to get this was your reversal. This was your continuation, right? This was your reversal. 2, 1, 2. Now, granted, it's 37.10 gets you 50 cents. But if you keep doing that, good things will tend to happen. Yes, 50 and 20, go through the 60 every hour. That's your job. Boom, boom, boom. What's the next 2? Then if you're in doubt, check with me. And Tom, when you're calling out signals, they are ready for entry. And also, can you give your insight on overstock? Well, Don, what you're going to see is that I expect you to know this stuff. So I'm not going to be like, this could be a buy. I'm like, it's a buy because, right? Definitely. We're looking for a way in. Here's your way in. Do we have every reason to expect that's going to work? A reversal back into full time frame continuity? You bet. Especially if we don't have exhaustion risk and we're coming back through a previous range. So, as opposed to like another chat room where everybody plays follow the leader, we don't do that. Once you understand all this, then you think like we do, and everybody thinks the same. And other people will call you off and be like, no, you're fighting that. And if you've never read the article, What Do We Know to Be True About Price Action, which is coming up on a year old, talked to my buddy Steve Burns here over the weekend. Might be writing a new one for him that the checklist is right there. We know what winning trades look like. And we know what losing trades look like. Losing trades look like chopped up in a 1, fighting a 2, destroyed by a 3, and fighting continuity. Winning trades look like this. Favorable 2, favorable 3, and continuity in your favor. Right? It's impossible not to. So once you think like that, I would also suggest that when you, before, not only do you check with me, say out loud what you're doing. And I don't care who's in the room. Say out loud what you're doing and why you're doing it. Mental mistakes come from silence, right? When you're trying to think. But when you have to say something out loud, if it doesn't make any sense, don't do it. I'm doing this because this is a 60 reversal back in the full time frame continuity. My magnitude's here. Ready? Go. I got stopped out by micro try, but if a micro tries back again on the 5-er, I will take the 222. Go. Boom. And article explains 4 reversal patterns. I heard you mention there are 6. What are the other 2? The other 2 would be a 3-2, where, and I don't have if anybody has that example at the top of their head, a 3-2 where the 3's not the actual reversal, or like NVAX this morning here on the 15. And this one must occur in a gap. All right, and what this is a 2-1-2 reversal, where the scenarios are opposite, but the continuity is the same. So what I mean by that is this was a 2 up because it gapped up, then inside, and this was a 2 down. So the scenarios are opposite, but the continuity is the same, and that can only occur during a gap. And overstacky. So overstock, what do we know to be true? Overstock's got this. 2 month to the upside, over 775, trade 901, nice percentage gain. That's still good. You're trying to come back into an old 3, broadening formation. The low's 1020. You're not back in that yet, but you can see this. Try like so on the month. On the week, be a little clearer here. Trying to get back through all this kind of stuff. You're still inside in the week, but you got continuity. So you opened at 854. You're handling there so far. The daily. Chop suey in here. By 1 cent, this took this out. So today, this was a rev strat to the upside. Just didn't go, right? I mean, didn't go a lot. It went for a lot from the opening, but not from here. So you had exhaustion risk taking this and this out. The question is going to be strong enough to take this out. 944. Right now, you don't have a reversal against you. If you go to 60, you're going to see this. Here. Comes up, goes 2 up, 2 down, 2 back up. So you're trying to fight your way back up into that. So the one thing you have in force right now is the 2 month. Tomorrow we'll find out a little bit more what they know, what they want to do. Dan, I caught the SMH reversal on the 3 minute starting just before the top of the final hour. I've been watching AMD. It went up 2 up on the 3 minute at the moment. Then we had simultaneous break to the upside with SPY Qs. I only caught SMH though. Would like to get more Ninja on the simultaneous break. So next time, what are you missing? Well, it could be a matter of screens. Because if you have them all up there and you start to see 1 or 2 of them go, the simultaneous break means that you don't have to be the first one in. If they're all going to go, that's like when you see like the Inside 60 Gorilla have the all. And one of the problems is that we have this low VIX environment, but when you see all the broader averages go inside, and then 1 or 2 start to break, you can be on top of the other ones, right? Because if it's going to be simultaneous, they're all going to go, and those will be the leaders, and then everything will go. In a more volatile environment, you're going to see how well that works, right? If that helps. See, how can you tell at the opening if Beyond was going to go all day or just for a few hours? Time frame continuity. Ooh, there's a nice 60. 2, 2, 2. Bam. I missed it, did you? 222 continuation above 126. We don't know. What we do know is we like long red and green bars. Is this a long green bar in the monthly? Have we had Have we had corrective activity? We have. If we take this out, the minimum magnitude we were looking for is that, and it went blowing through that. Hello, boys. How you doing up here? 135 of 23. So what we do is we don't tell them, they tell us. When people are like, what's your favorite stock? I'm like, the one that didn't stop going. And I'm like, how do you know which one that is? I'm like, I don't. But I do know if I trade with full time frame continuity and reversals, I'm going to find it, right? The key is just not getting out of the ones that are winning. And so what people will do is that they will have some losers, and then once they get their money back, they get very protective of their gains, right? And be like, oh, well, now I'm afraid because I was down, now I'm up. It's like, now you stick it to them. Now you got their money, right? It's a shoes on the other foot, if you will, if that makes sense. And for newer folks, I promise you, this low VIX environment is not good for us, right? If you hone your skills right now, when volatility shows up, you're going to love this. And that's why we hunt that stuff down, those things that are really moving. So here, like Boeing, the 5-minuter, the inside 5. Now this is directional, right? And when you have multiple time frames up, the 3-minute did this. Strat, boom, right there, and that's how you get in. And then right here below, this is below 311.75. And if I say I'm going to stay on the 3-minute, and as long as I don't have a reversal against me, I'm in. 311.75, and the first reversal was here. 306.80. That's a nice trade. That's a nice trade for 12, 15 minutes, right? And so, PG, I hope that helps you. I'm like, we don't tell them, they tell us. I swing trade, looking at charts every night, can't check with you. I find I get a trade, get profitable, and move stop to break even, then get stopped out. Example, ZS in over hammer on January 14th. Yeah, you're going straight into the highs, right? So if you're going to swing trade, I would not be directionally trading like that. So I would be looking for reversals. And so here in ZS, I'd be going after here. Here. 2, 2, right there. 2, 2. Make sure you got a reversal in there. Because you were going directionally in the highs. And if you're going to do that on a Momo hammer's got to go and stay up, which it did not, right? So then you did have some continuation here. But then anytime you go potential 3 here, you got to cut some. Goes up and starts coming in the range, you got to cut it. No, Boeing was definitely open at that time. No, that inside 5er happened. That inside 5er in Strat 3, no, that definitely happened. They didn't halt it till down here on the lows. This is where they halted it, right here. And where Dave got out of his puts. So these were good. That was still live. And also, I will be building out the course with all the 6 reversals and all that kind of stuff coming up. And John, how's it going? Mentioned a confluence of triangles. What is this saying? So, where are you in the grander scheme of things, right? Because you'll have triangles and everything, right? Or you're expanding, or you're not going to see them like a Tesla. You're expanding the 3-2 year, right? So where are you in the series? And so at this point, once you're jamming like this, you have to get onto sub-tries and be like, okay, triangle that, back up, and then new highs. So this low is 492, 492.17. So it's actually a higher low coming back through. So where am I where am I? And you can know that by what scenarios do I have going across multiple time frames to say, do I have a reversal monthly? Am I directional monthly? Am I reversal weekly? That's good. That means you've had correctional activity and you're going back in the direction of the monthly. And so it really, John, it's just about multiple time frame analysis. What's the next two? What's going on here? Do I have a reversal? Am I continuing? What am I doing? And also got some webinar stuff coming up here too. And like, if you stick on just the 2-2 reversals and the 2-1-2, the 2-1-2 inside bar reversals, you're fine. You're fine, right? If you just watch the 36 and you just do that, you're fine. And one of the problems some people will have is that you're going to get stopped out. We know that's going to happen. It's staying in when it's still good, right? That makes sense? Cool, cool. I can't stress enough saying out loud, what am I doing? It's like on the month, on the week, on the day. So I used to have a guy who wouldn't have a bunch of charts. He'd only have 3-bar charts. He's like, that's all I need. I only need 3 bars. I know what to do. It was nuts. But everybody, it sinks into everybody differently. And that's my job to help customize it to what you see and what you can understand and what you can execute, right? No, what I'm saying is that Boeing did this on the way down. What I'm saying, Boeing just did this on the way down, and then here's where it halted, right here. And that was at 306, and it reopened at 307.20. So if you got caught in the halt and it went against you, you lost $1.20 and just get out right away. Dave was up over 600% on his puts today. That was nice. So, okay. So here's where it halted. Right near the lows, right? And so if you go to the 1 minute here, $306.61, I'm trying to think. See, it halted here. And then went boom in here, micro try. So it also came back down right after the halt, I believe. And so once you hit a halt and it starts going against you, just get out. And then if you made the money off this stuff here, right, and you wanted to counter, I'm not against that, right? If you made the money off that that 3 and 5er, then I'm not against taking the money here and going long. You know why? Because you had a flip and the 60 went back green, right? Then you're playing with their money. If you're going to bottom pick, this is how you do it with their money, right? And here, then it goes 309.53, and in 15 minutes goes back to 313.90. So if you caught that downside and then you got halted and then you get out, right, and wait for the next signal. The next signal here was an inside 15 to the upside with the 60 continuity. That's intraday continuity, which you can do because of the volatility, right? Right out of the course. The more volatility, the more you can use the 60 like a weekly or a monthly, right, at that point. But then you got a flip, and it backs off. Now it's going to close out as an inside 30. Here. It also went 2-2-30 reversal here. All right, which you can take. You just have to realize what you're up against. And then once it flipped, it started to come in. On the 15, as soon as it flipped, it started to come in. Didn't fall apart, but that flip was important. Make sense? So when things happen matters. When things occur matters. And that's why we say mind the flip. Mind the flip. The seller's still here. Right? Make sense? Does it make a sense? And even if you didn't make it on the short side, you can still take that because of intertime frame continuity, but you got to be tight. Can't let that come in on you, because if it does, it goes full time frame continuity to the back downside. Yeah, no, I understand that. Once it halts on you, you got problems. Yeah, but you got to get out. As soon as it opens, you got to get out. Dave timed it like a Swiss watch. If you scroll up. And that's going to happen, right? It depends on where you got in, right? Because it was a fast mover on the downside. Right? Not saying it was easy. Yeah, time of the halt was sneaky. I'm not saying it was easy. I'm just pointing out exactly what happened, right? Not saying it was easy. Not saying it was easy. But it's important to also know that once it halts, if this thing opens even or up at all, you're gone. On the downside, gone. If it's going to give us another signal, so be it. But you got to cover immediately, regardless of what's happening. Regardless of where you got in, you got to get out. If it's going to repuke, it'll set up. If that makes sense. Because a lot of the things that I'm showing you is that even if you're not trading Boeing on the 5 and the 3 minute, all price action is uniform. So this is the kind of thing you want to look for on the longer term time frames. When I show you the monthly inside down and the weekly rev strat that's going to trigger it, right? It slows it down, right? And so for newer folks too, one of the ways that I teach is like that when you watch something like a Boeing or something that's really active, right? All the stuff still works the same way. I'm not expecting everybody to jump on an inside 5 down in Boeing or a rev strat 3 in Boeing. I'm not expecting everybody to do that. What I want you to do is be able to see it play out, because what you're going to see is something play out in a very short amount of time. And when we slow that down into the yearlies and the quarterlies and the monthlies and the weeklies, then you've got a ton of time to go after it, right? Because it's all the same. It's just the amount of participants and the time. And Sarepta, tell me why you got in. Tell me why you're in on Sarepta. Concepts are deceptively single. The execution during the day is primary challenge. All right, Blake, we'll get you there. Like I said, trade small, if anything. Don't lose learning this. And do all the mind training that I'm showing you how to see it on multiple time frames. And also being able to stay in these winners, these shoppies, these Teslers. Still good, still good, still good. Right, so because one of the problems people have is they get stopped out, and then when they get their money back on something that's still good, they get out. Right? All right, TW, and so, you're not stupid. We don't like to talk negatively about anybody and ourselves. If you made a mistake, just get out. Get out. Rip the Band-Aid. Rip the Band-Aid, just get out. And Bob and ZM. So ZM. We got a rev strat month here. Weekly still inside, but green. Daily's 3. All right, so one bar rev strat. And on the 15th, so here, let's say that I was swinging it because of the rev strat, right? But I got a new week, so I got to be aware of that, right? So it opens here and goes down, so it appears. As soon as it takes this out, I'm reducing, depending on where I'm in from. Because you're on a Monday. I mean, sorry, the first day of the week. You got 3 new time frames starting over, and I don't know what's going on, right? So I got to cut some there. Now, once it comes back into here, kicks back into full time frame continuity, the upside, I could add back. If I go to 60, spikes them down here, boom, right there, triangle it out, boom, right back in. Here's where it switches everything back over 75, 71, right? And then this stuff is nowhere near taking that out, which is fine, right? So then I can look for this, the 3, 2, to take this out. I think this is a 3, right? Nope, that's even, that's a 2. So here, on the 15er, there you go. So 2-2-15er, 2-1-2, 2-1-2, right? And by this time, you're back sticking it to them, right? This is the opening puker, and then you come back here, right? Opened here. Here's where you retake the opening and go back into full throttle. Yeah, you can do that. Would take a 2-2 reversal if the 30-hour week is green but red in the month. Yes. Control. That's in the course. Control. Because what can happen is you might have big sellers at the opening of the month or whatever. But if the weekly and the daily and the 60 is all green, those guys might be gone. As far as I know, they're not here. And if they are, they're getting muscled. No, what I'm saying, TW, is that if you stay in losing trades and there's no reason to be in there, that it's taking you away from other trades that can make you money and that are winning trades, right? It's taking away your attention span. I'm not saying it can't work, right? I'm not saying it can't work. The question is how you're going to be a reversal on this, on the daily. So you'd either have to gap down, take some more heat, and then it would have to come back and go potential 3. For the weekly, you'd still have to change continuity, right? The good thing that you have is a multiple inside bar, still inside month. So I'm not saying it can't work, but there's other things that are more likely to work. So you did stop this out. So you got the micro try here. I'm not saying this can't happen. It's just a matter of magnitude and probability. And right now that's against you, right? Maybe this is the try and it comes ripping back through here. So you got all this. So what I would say is that you're looking to get out of this. If it goes your way and is maintaining, mind the flip. If that goes against you, get out, right? Mind any signals against you on the shorter term stuff, because at this point, are you anywhere near a reversal on the daily? You're not, right? So at that point, you either have to set up a potential 3, set up an inside day for the next day, and then hope that reverses everything if it's close enough to continuity, right? But in general, you're trading an inside month and a 2 down. No, there's no real reason to be in this, because how are you going to change this? Right? Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. I'm not saying it can't go 3. It can definitely do that. The question is, do we have evidence that it's going to do that? The best evidence you have is that it's an inside month, but it's red on the month. So if you can start coming back through and changing all that, opened at 129.63, you're nowhere near that tomorrow, right? So what I would say is, don't get hell bent on one stock when we have so many that we have much better evidence that it's going to work. So it's not a point of being right or getting yourself out of trouble. It's a matter of switching your focus and saying, create the winning positions in good stuff, and when those are going, let them work, like the Beyond the Meats and stuff like that. Let it work, as opposed to always trying to fight the other team. Let all the other participants help you out, right? When you have full time frame continuity, you got backup, right? Because being stubborn in this business can really crush you. You can do whatever you want. What I'm saying is that if it goes in here and goes inside, then, you know, what's the next two and what's the next possible reversal, right? Are you anywhere near a reversal on the month? You're not. You're 22 days in an inside month. That's something we don't want. And it's red, right? So you might be a month early. On the weekly, it starts off fading still, right? And maybe that turns up. Maybe it doesn't, right? We don't know. Right, but we don't have evidence that's going to occur. And that's why I will say is, like, when you go through the checklist of what winning trades and losing trades look like, one of them is getting chopped up in a 1. And so when you get to noon or 1 o'clock, I don't want to be trading anything that's still an inside day. When I get to Wednesday, Thursday, I don't want to trade anything that's still an inside week. When I get to second, third week of the month, I don't want to trade something that's still an inside month. Right? You're early. Right? See you next month. So at this point, on a monthly basis, what you'd hope for, the best thing you could hope for at this point would be a 2-1-2 continuation, right? Once it closes out. Okay, UTHR. Okay, so UTHR, a little different. So UTHR had this. Tight monthly stuff, but you're tight enough to be able to have enough room to go 3 on the month, right? So if you go to the weekly, here, 2 goes 3 coming back through here. And even so, you know, if you go to the daily, there you go. Triangle out, boom, here, right? And so the high of this 86.46 was the weekly opening. So the weekly opening was 85.82. So when this took this, the week was already green. The week was going green. Boom, right? And you had time frame continuity the upside, monthly. Then it turned to monthly green, right? In an outside month. So a little different at that point. And so you don't want to get focused totally on the triangles. You got to focus on everything. What's the next 2? Is this a possible 3? Does it change continuity back green, right? Because here's your 2-2 reversal, right? So if you're in here, you had a 2 down. Here was the 2-2 up. Okay, good. And if beyond pukes, beyond, you can trade it because it's so volatile. You know, it'd be a good chance of an inside day if it comes in. You just have to know that you're going to be taking profits. You're not going to be sitting on this thing, right? If you have anything against you, you're going to take it. You're going to defend like hell on any flip. And just keep taking the reversal setups, 30, 60, 15ers. And when they hit exhaustion, defend like hell. So you can still do that. Nail and bail. That's right. We'll take the money and let them set up again. They will. They will. Can I defend the position? Yeah, keep it profitable. Keep it profitable, and if you're at any risk of it going against you, get out. If you have every reason to believe it's still going to continue, and you have a shorter term reversal against you, you'd peace out some. Right? Which lowers your cost. And then you wait until you have one of those reversals back in your favor in the 15, 30, 60 and go back in and go back in because you're still playing with their house money. Right? We want to play with house money. So don't let something go against you. If it does, get out. Right? If we have every reason to believe it's going to go, but you have short-term exhaustion risk and you have a flip coming against you, piece it out. When it resets up, reload, and maybe even more. Always plays with house money. Good things tend to happen. If that makes sense. Because I understand it can get tricky for some folk, and I understand that. It takes some people longer to understand it. It makes sense. And that's why when I know who you are and what you're doing, you can hear me talk directly to you. And when volatility shows up, you're going to love this. And that's why we hunt it down. Don't break the rules. Right? Don't break the rules, right? If you trade with full time frame continuity, good things will tend to happen. Still trying to understand, create winning positions? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you're seeing such monster moves, when you're trading, things that really move, it doesn't take that much to make the money. Shopee and Tesla and all that, it doesn't take that much. I don't care if it's 10 shares, right? But once you create it, then you can do anything you want, right? You can add to it when you have a reversal going. You can reduce it. You can just cut it. Losers are always going to take away your money and your time and your mind, right? So just use these smaller things to create it. If it's a winner, let it go. If we have every reason to believe it's going to, let it go. And you can add to it. You can do anything you want. Sold beyond way too early today? Check with me. Still good. If I say still good, here's how you're going to do it. Still good. Okay. Beyond the beats. John, I have a Facebook group. I haven't been on it in a while, but it's called In the Black Nation. So if you go there, I'll think about it. That'd be nice. Because I know the different time frames there for you, so I'm working on it all. It's like, what are you doing? You're not on the headset, Rob. I'm like, I don't know, wait to go on the headset. And by all means, never get frustrated with the strat, all right? Just keep seeking to learn it, because once you see this, it's in everything, right? And once you get in a groove and once the market's really moving and all that kind of stuff, not just the total grinder, you're gonna love that. You're gonna love that you spent the time to do this. Okay, good. Good. That'd be nice. And we'll do that. AMRN in the last 3 hours. Two reversal fade. Right? So they did what they wanted to do. They bought them. Then they got concerned. Inside day up. Took some of these guys out. Not strong enough to take this out. Goes inside weak and up. So here you're going to see this. You exhausted this and this. Not strong enough for that. No, not quite. So you exhausted this. You went inside weak and up. Took care of these guys and these guys. Buyers didn't step up. Now the question is, are they going to continue to step up or not? Monthly's trying to counter, still red. So tomorrow, what's the next two on the 60? Continue the fade or 2-2 and boom. SPCE 30. Well, monthly, your exhaustion risk, but bright green. Weekly, your exhaustion risk, but green. Daily, continuation exhaustion risk, but green. 30. 30 down here, what's this? So this one's slightly too up here. That was a little tricky on the 30. Then you get stuck in here. This is directional kind of stuff up in here. Stop them out. Then goes up here, stop them out. Yeah, not doing much here on the 30. What you do is the 60. Here, 21260. Momo hammer, and Momo hammer's got to go. Once it comes in, you're out. Then inside closer. Yes, start with the monthly, weekly, or the quarterly, or the yearlies too. Monthly, weekly, daily, 60. Right? The bigger signals, that means the more participants involved. We're sticking it to more folk. See if I can find that. Okay. Let me see if I can find this on Facebook real quick. That'd be fun. Let's see, it's not coming up. Okay. Bigger signal is not necessarily more powerful, just as you have more participants involved. Huh? So, here we go. Facebook in the Black Nation. Boom. If you want to admin and have some more folks in there, I'll throw it on Twitter and blow that thing up a little bit. Because when you hear me say still in force, right? Once a monthly signal's in force, it's still good all month. Anytime that reconfirms, it's still good. It's working, right? And that's why we like things to happen on the flip. Then you have all hour to go after it. Or on the weekly, all week. It's good all week. That's why we go on the wheels in motion. I'm like, as long as it's above that, that's good all week. Once I say as long as it's above that, it's good all month. It's good all quarter, good all year. Right? Anytime you get a reversal back in that direction, that's something you want. Make sense? Okay. All right, but on that note, I think we're going to cut it. And I think that was a good session. And I'm going to get this, we'll get that Facebook up and running, see if we can get some help here. And I'll get this posted as soon as possible. All right. Good night. All right. See y'all bright and early in the morning. All right.